Happy Mondays, the Reds. It's Talking Reds. We're going to be an oasis of redness for the next 20 minutes or so. We're the real people to listen to if you want to have a chat about the Reds and that. I'm going to stop referencing 90s bands. It just came into my head when we started. It's the dream team back together as well. Gareth Roberts and Craig Hannan. Yeah, there is stuff to talk about, even though the Reds didn't play at the weekend, so we're getting stuck straight in. The first one is, let me just start my stopwatch here so I no longer ticks. Professional. Sadio Mane, there's talk of a new contract here. Liverpool apparently sitting down with him, having a bit of a chat. He's got a deal already with the club until 2021, but they want to extend that as a reward for how well he's played, basically, since he joined the club in 2016. First off, I mean, on that, obviously lots of talk this season about him not being quite the player he has been. He's obviously switched wings to accommodate Salah. Still managed to score 12 goals, which is only one less than last season. My favourite bit about all of this, to be honest. And so, yeah, basically, he hasn't played as well, and yeah, he's into double figures. And well, last game, obviously, in particular, he looked really good, didn't he?
Sign of a really good player, that, isn't it? Whenever everyone's saying that he's out of form and he's not playing as well as he could, he's still absolutely banging them in. He scores the goal against Burnley, obviously the 3 the other night. Like, I thought he was outstanding the other night, and that third goal's just gorgeous. That's in the Champions League knockout stages, remember. It's not just against anyone, and so that really excites me. Think about last year, whenever we heard Mane was injured, or he was out, or he was going to the African nations, there was panic spreading amongst the fan base. How are we going to cope without him? And I think now that we've got Salah, no. Right, let's start again, Sam. Let's start again.
Sorry.
But now that we've got Mo, now that we've got Mo doing bits on the other side as well, there's less of a reliance on them, isn't there? There's less of a burden, and I think as well because he's had the
Sorry, there's an Everton in the community van going past. Fuck off, blue shite.
This is going well, isn't it? Sam's just shaking his head. What was I saying? Mane's brilliant. Get him tied down, up the Reds. Is that us done?
Yeah, that's us done. That's been Talking Reds. Now stay with us. I mean, obviously the Reds have been in Marbella the last few days. Warm weather training, they're calling it. It's a jolly, isn't it? Come on, boys. You've just went somewhere nice and you're eating outside and you're having a bit of a laugh. And I'm fine with that, by the way. Team bonding and all that. They've done a couple of training sessions out there. They're back now, and then they're looking ahead to West Ham this weekend. But Klopp's been talking away while he's been out there. Not loads of it, not particularly interesting, I wouldn't say. And it's just stuff you'd expect the manager of the football club to say. So he's been talking about Ings, Solanke, Klavan and Woodburn.
Who's Ings?
Ings?
Danny Ingredients.
Danny Ingredients, sorry, yeah. Danny Ingredients, of course.
You've changed, Robbo, you've changed.
I've done it with that. All the banter's gone because I've been doing it with all these different people, you know what I mean? Yeah, Danny Ingredients, Solanke, Klavan and Woodburn, all in good shape and pushing hard for a place in the squad, says Klopp. And that's good to hear, of course, but I mean, you wouldn't expect him to say anything else, is my point. Away from that, just something else we can have a bit of a mess about is that apparently they did a draw to see who they were all sharing rooms with. Apparently they're quite used to having single rooms normally, but Klopp says, I've been doing this for 18 years with my teams. I know the boys, especially in England, are used to single rooms, but a training camp is for hard training, a lot of sessions, a lot of meetings, but as well it's to get to know each other a bit better. I always do shared rooms at a training camp, and it's a draw. It's like the Champions League draw. I pick out the names. It's very funny because the players are really nervous before it. It's a good thing. Well, how do you reckon that would work at the Anfield Wrap if we was to do that?
Do you know what? I'd be well up for that. When we were in Scandinavia, we all had our own rooms, and I felt a bit lonely at times. I like waking up in the morning after a night out and having a bit of a laugh with like Gibbo, it usually is. But yeah, at the Anfield Wrap, so who would you be most scared of?
Well, I'm a light sleeper, you see, and I've shared the room with various Anfield Rappers.
Who's been your worst? Who's been your worst?
Well, one that the worst ever was a lad who's not even involved anymore, so I'm not going to mention his name, but fuck me, it was like someone was moving a bed round, and it was actually just him snoring. I taped it on my phone and played it back to him next day and said, any chance? Do you know what I mean? I just literally lay there for like 8 hours with no sleep, so that was sound. So basically, anyone who snores, and it's a few of them.
I'm a dream to room with, to be honest. I don't snore. Yeah.
How do you know?
I've just been told, haven't I? Just been told by people I've roomed with over the years.
Sound. talking Reds there with the revelations there. I mean, the main thing for me about this training camp is that, you know, they did all look happy and good, and it's an opportunity for Klopp to train with them on things that maybe he hasn't been happy with over the last few games or whatever. So looking forward to seeing how that all clicks into place against West Ham. And also as well, of course, no one's allegedly nicking taxis or swinging golf clubs. So, you know, that's good, isn't it? Elsewhere today, and there's a bit of drilling in the background. I know some people love that one. We are in an office where they're doing a lot of building work at the moment, and there's not much we can do about it. We have asked. So on the podcast and on the videos, every now and again, there will be a little bit of noise. Soz. But yeah, 442 have named a list of their best 30 strikers in Premier League history. Obviously, these type of things are very subjective, and they're meant to create a bit of debate, and it has done. There's 5 Reds in this list. Obviously, this only goes back to 1992. I'm well aware that there were great Liverpool strikers before then. I watched many of them myself. I am that old, so don't get on me back about that. Have a go at 442. But in this list, Nicholas Anelka is 20th, Fernando Torres 18th, which feels low to me. Robbie Fowler 14th, which feels low to me. Michael Owen 13th, asked. And Teddy Sheringham's above all of them. He's 11th. Was he that good? Suarez is the leading Liverpool forward in 7th. And then if we quickly run through, Thierry Henry's that they've decided is the best striker to ever play in the Premier League, followed by Shearer, Cantona, Aguero.
Cantona?
I know I'm not really getting the Cantona inclusion. I've got to be honest. Good player, but one of the best ever in the Premier League. Third, in fact. I don't think so, boys. Then Aguero, then Rooney, Bergkamp, Suarez, Drogba, Van Nistelrooy, Ian Wright in 10th, Sheringham, Van Persie, Michael Owen, Fowler, Andy Cole, Dwight York, Gianfranco Zola, Torres, Berbatov, and 20th, as I say, Anelka. There's another 10 there, but you know, go and read it on 442's website. I mean, that was the one that jumped out for me, so I'm glad you said it as well. Cantona, lad who wasn't actually a striker, he played a little bit deeper a lot of the time. Lad who went around booting people in the face doing kung fu kicks. He was good, look, don't get me wrong. We saw it ourselves first hand, but you know what I mean? One of the best ever.
Where's Mo Salah?
He's not there, is he? You know what I mean? He's not. Yeah, where's Mo Salah, boys?
Shit list,
I mean,
that 442.
The thing is that, but these lists are just so subjective, aren't they? I mean, what are you basing it on? Is it based on did they win things? Is it based on how long they stayed at the club? Is it based on number of goals? Is it based on goal per game? It's all a bit. Throw it up in the air and see where it all lands.
I actually do usually like the 442 list just because you get to read about loads of brilliant footballers. And if you take it with a pinch of salt as well, like they do the top 100 each year, and I love reading that. And you don't take it as number one is literally the best. Well, it usually is because it's messy, but beyond that, it's just great to read about loads of brilliant footballers from that year. But yeah, Cantona, I'm not having that, and Mo Salah not being included. Not having that either, Gareth.
Let us know what you think in the comments as well, please. We might well talk about it later on in the week. Also, just wanted to touch on Hector Bellerin has had a bit of a pop at Arsenal Fan TV, and obviously we're not Arsenal Fan TV, but we are fan-driven media, and so I just thought it was worth a mention. He did some kind of speech in Oxford, and in it had a bit of a pop at Arsenal Fan TV. He said, "It's so wrong for someone who claims to be a fan and their success is fed off of failure. How can that be a fan? There's just people hustling, trying to make money their way, which everyone is entitled to do. For us players, it doesn't affect us. If they want to have fun with it, then have fun. When you grow, you realise what is important to you to take on board. If a coach comes to me and says, you've done something bad, I'm going to take this advice. If someone from Arsenal Fan TV says, this guy needs to do this or that, I'm not going to listen to him." Arsenal Fan TV had a bit of a go back, and then he's come back on again and said, "At no point did I criticise the Arsenal fan base. I have nothing but respect for all the support we get through ups and downs. I just voiced my opinion about a platform. Guess some people just can't take opinions about themselves." Now, first thing on this is that it just seems pretty pointless for him to have got involved. I mean, you know, supporter-driven things have existed for a long time. It might now be YouTubes, it might now be podcasts. Previously it was fanzines. Before that it was conversations in the pub. My point is, supporters talk about football, supporters talk about players, supporters talk about the club and every aspect of it, and will continue to do so forevermore. And that's why we're able to do stuff like this. So I don't really get his point. I mean, look, Arsenal fan TV's become a bit of a laugh at times, and you got the fella who says blood a million times, and you've got all these little meme things going on the internet, and we're all having a bit of a laugh about it. Quite why it gets up Hector Bellerin's nose, I don't really understand, because he's saying you should just ignore it and he doesn't listen to them anyway. Well, we'll follow that advice, mate, and shut up.
It just seems like a bit of a silly argument. The whole point of Arsenal Fan TV is that it captures supporters' emotions the minute that they come out of the ground. And my God, if the Anfield app captured my emotions coming out of the ground sometimes straight away, we would be in trouble. Not just me, any of the Anfield app contributors, because that's the time whenever your emotions are at their highest. And even times when we do the post-match show, it could be an hour and a half after the game, and we're still really annoyed. But you have that little bit of time to calm down. Again, I understand what he says, in that it does kind of feed off the success of, it feeds off the failure of the team, because opposition fans and probably Arsenal fans would like to see it whenever they've been beaten. That's the whole fun of it, isn't it? It's the fact that it's so mad.
But they do it every game. I know. They're not only doing it when Arsenal get beat. I mean, if he doesn't like success off the back of a failure, we'll stop failing on the pitch, mate. You know what I mean? How about that? I mean, how about look inside instead of outside? I don't know. I just don't get it as a thing. I mean, as you say, it is immediate reaction. You have got a camera and a microphone in your face like seconds after the final whistle. And I think I've mentioned before, and I'm sure he won't mind, as intelligent as Neil Atkinson is, I did see him lose his shit outside Home Baked once about Henderson, Chan and the midfield dilemma. And I just went in Home Baked and got something to eat. I wasn't getting involved.
What'd you get?
I got a scone.
Yeah.
I got a scone, and very nice it was too. Do pop into Home Baked there. It's a wonderful organisation just over the road from the cop. We'll be back in a minute and we'll do the papers. Okay, second half of the show where we look at the newspapers then. Today's newspapers, not Reds chat. This is more, well, all of the back page is pretty much about Rochdale and about Steve Davis and his last minute goal for Rochdale against Spurs, which has got them a replay at Wembley. Scotland's finest. I was made up. I really enjoyed this. Because Rochdale are bottom of League One and they're a little club. Spurs are the Premier League giants. It's got that romance about it. There's a lovely picture here. The day Daddy shocked Spurs. And look, people talk all the time about the FA Cup and whether it's lost its romance and all that sort of stuff. Well, there's an example of it not losing its romance, and also of its importance to teams lower down the league. I mean, as I say, they're bottom of League One. They got 8,480 through the gate, which is brilliant, given that the game was on the telly as well. And that'll do wonders for their coffers. And then obviously, as I say, trip to Wembley, a dream come true for a lot of these lads. And just to mention as well, Stephen Davis is a Scouser. Of course he is. Used to play over there and at Tranmere. Now he's got a nice day out, and lovely finish as well, by the way. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Lovely, pulls it in first time, put it bottom corner, and loads of people being cruel about his weight and him looking a little bit big in the shirt. Still got it though, hasn't he?
I quite like that about the FA Cup though. Like, I like, they're not the fine-tuned athletes that we're used to watching every week. Although that is only Rochdale, I think. Are they League Two?
League One. Bottom of League One.
But yeah, and it's another game for Spurs to play, which is great for us.
Exactly. Yeah.
In terms of that's another midweek game for them. Then once they get through, it's another midweek game for them. Happy days.
I've been to Scotland, not for a game, unfortunately. I wouldn't have minded going to that one against Spurs. But I've got a mate who supports them. He was on the show on Friday, Johnny Greeny. We had a surprise do for him at Scotland, and so I went down there, stayed over, and I loved the clubhouse. The clubhouse is just like, it's such a world away from Premier League clubs. There was snooker trophies in there and all kinds, and I was like, it's a football club. But it's centred to the community. People love it. People get involved. And if you're a Rochdale fan today, well, you're bouncing, aren't you? You've got a draw against Spurs, and you're going to Wembley. Brilliant. Wigan v Manchester City tonight in the FA Cup as well. Wouldn't mind another upset there as well. That'd be, a similar story really. Bit mad though. This on the back of the Times. I was thinking about this myself yesterday. So Spurs Anger over Spurs Cup semi is the headline there on the back of the Times. And it's just this idea that obviously Wembley has pretty much been home, if you like, for Spurs this season. And because they played the semis of the FA Cup at Wembley and obviously the final there, it's like 2 home games for them, isn't it? And which is a bit weird. And you know, they're already ruling out the FA of moving the semi-final to, you know, a normal neutral venue like it used to be in the good old days. And it says, what the FA have said is Tottenham will not be treated as the home side if they reach the semi-finals, and in an attempt to maintain neutrality of the venue, the teams will toss a coin to determine who gets to use the home dressing room, and Tottenham branding will be removed. Oh well, that's all right then. Fuck. Where's this place? Never played here before. I mean, what a load of shit.
I think it's just the pitch, isn't it? It's the pitch. It's the stadium. Yeah, it's everything. It's the match day routine. It's the travelling to Wembley. Shut up. It's the travelling to Wembley. Yeah, I think that's a lot of shit, to be honest. And we've known this was going to happen, didn't we? Really, like they give Wembley to Spurs. This was always going to happen at some stage.
It just seems that football doesn't help itself sometimes, and certainly the FA don't help themselves, and it's just so easy to criticise them. So thanks for that. There's a bit of criticism your way. Speaking of easy things to criticise, my old mate VAR. It's a sack of shit, this. Come on. I mean, every time we talk about it, people go, come on, Robbo, we do need it, and it will be better, and it means we get more decisions right and all this sort of thing. I mean, did you all see it? Did you all see what happened?
Did you see the line?
Did you see the line? Like
amazing.
A squiggly line. And look, they've come out since and said, that squiggly line wasn't the line that the referee saw and all this. And it's like, well, whatever the reasons, why was it popping up on my telly? And why did they have Robbie Savage losing his shit about it? It can't really see it there, I don't think, because it's a bit dark in here. But basically, a squiggly line comes up, and they're like, well, that's what the fella sitting in Heathrow or whatever's just seen. But also, even when they did the straight line, which now they're saying that's the one he saw, the actual decision they made and the decision to rule out the goal wasn't really that clear cut. Like, it's supposed to be an obvious mistake from the linesman, and that's why they're going to the video ref. Well, it wasn't an obvious mistake. It was like a millimetre offside or something.
Which is exactly the problem with it, because if they go to VAR and the goal is given, well then the United fans have sort of lost that celebration, haven't they? That's the main problem. I said the last time that I was on Talking Reds, I said to you, bet you the next time I'm on this we're talking about VAR.
And we are.
And do you know what? I love the squiggly line though. I like the idea of like the ref going, right, let's go to Heathrow, and then some lad sat in Heathrow Airport like, shit, we don't have the line. And then him just drawing a line quickly.
Oh, hang on, he's on side, look.
Yeah, it's just making a mockery out of it at the moment, and I'm just bored of it.
Yeah, it's mad, and apparently the Premier League clubs are going to vote in April as to whether this should be brought in for the Premier League next season. Tell you what, lads, how about nah? It's not ready. Every single time it's used, there's some kind of mistake, some kind of mess around it in general. And I just think, look, maybe work on it, maybe have a think about it, maybe think about how it can be better, but rushing it in for next season and having to go through all this rigmarole every time you go to match, I might start watching Rochdale, Okay, on the Anfield app today, there is a free podcast as ever on a Monday. As discussed, the Reds obviously haven't played, so what we're going to do is, been throwing it out on Twitter and on the Facebook subscribers group, just saying, ask us any questions you want about Liverpool, about Anfield, about the Anfield app, just in general, one of those type of shows. So that's what we're going to do. We've got a decent panel in. We've got Paul Cope, Rob Gutman, Jay McKenna and Mike Nevin, and we're just going to run through as many of those questions as we can. So a bit of a free show with a difference. Going to be recording that in round about an hour, and that'll be out there later this afternoon. Also out there today, there will be a coach home as well. I'm not sure what clubs are being covered on that one, but it will be out there. Stories from other leagues and other clubs and that sort of thing. So as ever, good time to get on board with the Anfield app. West Ham this weekend, loads of build up towards that. Porto to come soon as well, the Champions League adventure and all the rest of it. And the Reds are playing well, the Reds are scoring lots of goals, potential good times ahead, so why not get involved, and we'll be back tomorrow with another Talking Reds.